Have you ever stopped to consider how much of your daily life is governed by habits? From the moment you wake up to the moment you close your eyes at night, your actions are often on autopilot. You might not even realize it, but you are constantly engaging in patterns of behavior that you've developed over time. But what if these seemingly insignificant habits hold the key to unlocking your full potential? What if understanding the mechanics of habit formation could empower you to transform your life in profound ways? Let's take the example of Edward Thorndike's famous experiments with cats in puzzle boxes. These weren't just any ordinary boxes. They were intricately designed contraptions that required the cats to perform specific actions, like pulling a loop or pressing a lever to escape and reach a food reward outside. Initially, the cats would engage in random behaviors, scratching, biting, and pawing at the box in a desperate attempt to get out. But through trial and error, they eventually stumbled upon the correct solution. What's truly fascinating is what happened next. With each successive trial, the cats became increasingly efficient at escaping the box. The time it took them to solve the puzzle decreased dramatically. They were learning, adapting, and forming new habits. Thorndike's observations led him to formulate the law of effect, a fundamental principle in psychology. This law states that behaviors followed by satisfying consequences are more likely to be repeated, while those followed by unpleasant consequences are less likely to recur. In the case of the cats, the satisfying consequence was escaping the box and obtaining food. This positive reinforcement strengthened the association between the specific action, like pulling the loop, and the desired outcome. As a result, the cats were more likely to repeat that action in future trials. Think about how this applies to your own life. How many times have you continued a behavior, even a detrimental one, simply because it provided some form of immediate gratification? Maybe it's that extra slice of cake, hitting the snooze button one too many times, or mindlessly scrolling through social media. The immediate pleasure outweighs the potential long-term negative consequences, reinforcing the behavior and making it harder to break free. Conversely, how often have you struggled to adopt a positive habit, like exercising regularly or eating healthier, because the immediate effort seems to outweigh the delayed benefits? It is easier to stay in bed. The couch is more comfortable than the gym, but the long-term rewards of improved health and well-being are significant. Now, let's shift gears for a moment and talk about B.F. Skinner, a name synonymous with behaviorism. Skinner took Thorndike's ideas and expanded upon them, developing the concept of operant conditioning. He designed his own experimental apparatus, the famous Skinner box, which allowed him to study behavior in a more controlled and systematic way. Imagine a rat in a Skinner box. This box typically contains a lever, a food dispenser, and a light or speaker for delivering stimuli. In one of Skinner's classic experiments, a hungry rat would be placed in the box. As it explored its environment, it might accidentally press the lever. Lo and behold, a food pellet would be dispensed. This is where it gets interesting. The rat quickly learns to associate pressing the lever with receiving food. The food acts as a positive reinforcer, increasing the likelihood that the rat will press the lever again in the future. Skinner could further shape the rat's behavior through a process called shaping or successive approximations. Let's say he wanted the rat to learn a more complex behavior, like pressing the lever only when a light is turned on. He might start by rewarding the rat for any movement toward the lever. Then, he would gradually refine the criteria, rewarding only behaviors that more closely approximate the desired outcome. For example, he might reward the rat for facing the lever, then for touching the lever, and finally for pressing the lever only when the light is illuminated. This process of shaping can be incredibly powerful. It allows us to break down complex behaviors into smaller, more manageable steps, making them easier to learn and master. Think about how this principle is applied in various areas of life, from training animals to teaching children new skills. Have you ever used a step-by-step approach to learn something new, like playing a musical instrument or mastering a new language? It is the same principle at work. Each small success builds upon the previous one, gradually leading you closer to your ultimate goal. It is also used to help overcome addictions or unwanted behaviors, gradually replacing them with healthier alternatives. Another key player in the field of habit formation, Edwin Guthrie. Guthrie's theory of learning, known as contiguity theory, emphasized the importance of the temporal relationship between a stimulus and a response. In simpler terms, he believed that learning occurs when a stimulus and a response occur close together in time. This might sound a bit abstract, so let's go back to Thorndike's cats for a moment. According to Guthrie, the cats learned to escape the puzzle box not because of the reinforcement of food, but because the act of pulling the loop or pressing the lever was the last thing they did before the door opened. The close proximity in time between the action and the escape created a strong association between the two. Guthrie's ideas have important implications for how we form habits in our daily lives. They suggest that the timing of our actions matters. If you want to establish a new habit, like drinking more water, it helps to create a clear and consistent link between a cue and the desired behavior. For example, you might decide to drink a glass of water immediately after brushing your teeth in the morning. The act of brushing your teeth becomes the cue, and the close proximity in time between the cue and the action of drinking water strengthens the association between the two. Over time, this association becomes automatic, and the habit of drinking water after brushing your teeth becomes ingrained. This also highlights the importance of creating an environment that supports your desired habits. If you want to eat healthier, make sure your kitchen is stocked with nutritious foods and that unhealthy snacks are out of sight and out of mind. If you want to exercise more, lay out your workout clothes the night before, so they are the first thing you see when you wake up. By strategically arranging your environment, you can create cues that prompt positive behaviors and minimize distractions that might lead you astray. Think about your current routines. Are there any areas where you could improve the contiguity between your desired actions and their triggers? How can you create an environment that makes it easier to engage in positive habits and more difficult to fall back into negative ones? What cues in your environment are triggering unwanted behaviors, and how can you modify them? Procrastination, for instance, can often be understood as a breakdown in contiguity. You intend to start a task, but the immediate gratification of engaging in a more pleasurable activity, like watching television or browsing social media, overrides your long-term goals. The link between the intention to work and the actual act of working is weakened. One of the most powerful strategies for overcoming procrastination is to strengthen this link by creating clear and immediate consequences for delaying action. This could involve setting deadlines, breaking down large tasks into smaller, more manageable steps, or using a timer to work in focused intervals. Now let's consider how these three theories, the law of effect, operant conditioning, and contiguity theory, work together to shape our habits. They are not mutually exclusive. Instead, they provide complementary perspectives on the complex process of habit formation. The law of effect highlights the importance of consequences in shaping behavior. We are more likely to repeat actions that lead to positive outcomes and less likely to repeat those that lead to negative outcomes. Operant conditioning builds upon this by demonstrating how we can actively shape behavior through reinforcement and successive approximations. And contiguity theory emphasizes the role of timing and environmental cues in creating strong associations between stimuli and responses. Together, these theories provide a powerful framework for understanding how habits are formed and how they can be modified. They offer practical strategies for breaking unwanted habits and building new positive ones. By understanding the principles of reinforcement, shaping, and contiguity, you can take control of your own behavior and create lasting change in your life. But here's the thing. Changing habits is not always easy. It requires effort, persistence, and a willingness to step outside of your comfort zone. You might encounter setbacks along the way. You might even feel like giving up at times. But remember those cats in Thorndike's puzzle boxes. They didn't give up. They kept trying until they found a way out. You too have that same capacity for perseverance. So how can you apply these principles to your own life? How can you use the power of habits to achieve your goals, whether it's improving your health, advancing your career, or simply becoming a better version of yourself? First, start by identifying the habits you want to change. What are the behaviors that are holding you back? What are the areas where you feel stuck? Your understanding of the habits you want to change, you can begin to apply the principles we've discussed. Use the law of effect to your advantage by identifying the rewards that are reinforcing your unwanted behaviors. What are you getting out of them? And how can you replace those rewards with something healthier and more fulfilling? Use the principles of operant conditioning to shape your behavior gradually. Start small, set realistic goals, and celebrate your successes along the way. Don't try to change everything at once. Focus on one habit at a time and gradually build from there. And finally, use the power of contiguity to create an environment that supports your desired habits. Make it easy to engage in positive behaviors and difficult to fall back into negative ones. Surround yourself with people who support your goals. Create routines that make it easier to make healthy choices. Remember, changing habits is a process, not a destination. There will be ups and downs. There will be times when you slip up and fall back into old patterns. But that's okay. It's all part of the process. The important thing is to keep learning, keep growing, and keep moving forward. The power to transform. Your life is within you. It's hidden in the seemingly insignificant habits that make up your daily routine. By understanding the mechanics of habit formation, you can unlock that power and create a life that is truly aligned with your values and aspirations. So, what are you waiting for? Take that first step. Start small, be patient with yourself, and never give up on your ability to change. You have the power to shape your destiny, one habit at a time. It is in your hands. What will you do with it? What is the one habit that, if changed, could have the most significant impact on your life? And what is one small step you can take today to start moving in that direction? Think about it. The answer might surprise you, and who knows, it might just change everything. The choice, as always, is yours.